We'll go alphabetical order. We'll start with Wendy and give her 5 to 7 minutes to talk, and then Lewis, and then Judge Scheibenberger, and then we'll throw it open to questions. So, everybody comfortable with that? Okay.
Thank you. Well, I remained standing because she told me that I was going to be first, since I'm Wendy Davis and I'm running for Allen County Superior Court Judge. Oftentimes people say, why are you running for judge and what has brought you here? I grew up in Allen County. In fact, my parents still live out on the county line in the house I grew up in 30-some years ago. And I grew up here, and after I grew up, I went to law school. I went to Valparaiso University, and then I got married. So my husband was in the U.S. military, and he served during Desert Storm, active in the U.S. Army, and that took us down to Texas. So I was away from the county for approximately 10 years down in Texas. And during that time, I grew up in law enforcement. I was an assistant criminal district attorney for Texas. I was later appointed to a federally funded drug and violent crimes task force, where I mostly fought gangs and violent crimes, a lot of mafia. Unfortunately, in Texas, the underground there is huge. So I had to go to the police academy and be trained in ballistics at the police academy down in Texas. And during my stint as a violent crimes prosecutor on this task force, I saw many, many things that I hope to never see again. I did capital crimes, and I know there's a lot of things that go on in Texas. The controversy surrounds that. I did a lot of gangs. I fought a lot of gangs. I went to a lot of crime scenes. So fast forward, I moved back to Allen County about 12 years ago and moved into private practice. I'm currently now a partner at the law firm of Beckman Lawson, and in my private practice, I do all federal trial work. I do all federal litigation. I do labor and employment and other things like that. But it wasn't long before your elected prosecutor came to me and we had a discussion, and she invited me back to the prosecutor's office here. So I am a full-time partner, and I'm also a deputy prosecutor for Allen County. Mostly what I do currently for Allen County, and you've probably seen in some of the cases I've tried in the last couple of months, it's the violent crimes, the shootings, things like that. One of the things I have realized here in Allen County is that statistically, although crime is down, we see a lot more violent crime coming in. A month ago, I tried that case where the individual walked into the VFW and shot 6 people. Then a week and a half later, I was back in the courtroom trying a robbery shooting wherein an individual popped in the back of the car and pistol whipped 2 women, robbed them, and then shot one of the women and got guilty verdicts on those. So we see things coming into Allen County that are concerning to me. A little more of the gang activity that I did see in Texas. We're not Texas by any stretch of the imagination, so I don't want to be an alarmist, but I want to be vigilant and making sure our county stays safe and that we know how to deal with the types of crimes we're seeing. We also see a lot of drugs in Allen County, which obviously when I was appointed to the Drug and Violent Crimes Task Force, that is a huge problem that we've got to make sure we stay on top of. One of the reasons why, though I think that I really understand our community, because as the judge you've got to understand the community, is the past 12 years I've been back in Allen County. I left Texas, and when I planted myself back here, I went right into non-for-profit work. Those of you that know me know that I have tirelessly worked in the urban community, the rural community. I've worked a lot with the troubled youth and troubled adults here in the community. I'm currently on the board of Youth for Christ and a part of their urban task force. I'm on the board of United Way, and I'm vigilant with the Learn United program and the mentoring program that we have, because what I see with a lot of these kids in Allen County, I deal with them in the courtroom as some of my witnesses, but I also deal with them also on the streets. I was down off of Calhoun Street the other day, and there was a guy who had just come out of prison and was a felon, and he came up to me and he knew exactly who I was and made a phone call to a good friend of mine, Lionel Stewart over at Stewart Manufacturing, and hooked him up with Lionel to try to get him a job back in Allen County. Because the bottom line is, with a lot of these crimes that we see, a lot of these kids and organized crime that we are seeing, it really starts with lack, or what creates it is lack of education, lack of mentoring, and that kind of thing, and we've got to be able to handle that. One of the great things about being a judge in Allen County, and I guess I'm first, so I'll kind of explain it a little bit, is in Texas, we had a bifurcated trial system. So we would go to the jury and we would get a guilty verdict. So once as a prosecutor I got a guilty verdict, I would go back to that same jury for sentencing. In Allen County, our judges here in Indiana are very different than what we saw in Texas, and we take on more of a leadership role in the sense of, as a prosecutor, those like the cases I just tried, we go to the jury and we get a guilty verdict, or they come back not guilty. If you get a guilty verdict, then you go to the judge for sentencing. So judges in Allen County, which is why I think these races are important, have true leadership and have the true discretion and judgment to be able to determine what should be done with the criminal once they've been found guilty of a crime. So that's the first task that a judge here in Allen County has to do. And that judge sitting on the bench has to really understand crime in our community, the criminals that are committing those crimes, the alternative sentencing facilities that we may or may not have to have them, and what we can do to solve those crimes. The second thing a judge can do on the bench here in Allen County, which is fantastic, is figure out, so when you say solutions to crime, someone asked me the other day, well, you're a judge, how can you be a part of the solution to crime? The way you can do that is with programs. As many of you know, and I'm sure you've heard a lot about it, Fran Gold currently runs the drug court. She implements and runs the drug court. Judge Surbeck runs re-entry court, which is when criminals or accused come out of the jail and they re-enter into our site, into our community. The third court that we are all now contesting for is a court that is available then to figure out new innovative ideas and solutions and have some programs put into place. These programs don't necessarily have to come from taxpayers' pocketbooks though. I just attended the conference the Allen County Superior Court did not too long ago and listened to James Bell talk about how you can take the non-for-profit world and collaborate with solutions to violent crime, which is one of some of my ideas that I want to do with my connections, obviously with the Urban Task Force and some of the troubled youth that I've worked with and some of the troubled adults, and collaborate with already existing programs that we can court order here in Fort Wayne. So I'm getting the hand, so I better sit down. But anyway, I appreciate your vote in November. Thanks.